At the end of March 1992, you score your first goal for the Rezzies, and it's your best ever. You take it from halfway, right on the touchline, and head straight for goal, homing in, skipping past 2, 3, 4 tackles. It's so smooth, so easy, you can't believe it's you doing it, past another defender, another, thinking the ball is going to slip away. Amazed it's still at your feet when you get to the penalty spot, and there's one more defender. He's maybe twice your age and twice your size as well. The man's a giant. You hold him off, spin round, take a swing and kick it hard into the top left corner as the keeper lunges, stretching out his fingertips to reach it, but knowing he won't. The net bulges, the ball hits the ground, and you celebrate like you've won gold at the fucking Olympics. You kiss the badge, you kiss half the team, you drop to your knees and cry out, your voice high and out of control. You do all the things you think are only for dickheads until you find yourself wondering where this other person has come from, this full up to bursting with emotion stranger who acts like the whole world is watching, when actually it's just the coach and about 4 others singing, "There's only one Mikey Wilson and he's okay, the boy born on Sir Matt Busby Way." And there is only one Wilson, you. As you kneel in the penalty box, smothered by all those new best mates diving on top of you, looking out through the pile of legs and shorts, you see your whole future. You see yourself being called into the gaffer's office to be told you're going to be given a senior contract. You see yourself signing it, big fat letters, bold and bright. You see your first senior game coming on as a sub for Robbo, seeing him slap the side of your face and saying, "You'll be fine. You're born to play for United." You see the solo goal you score in your first team debut. The headlines hailing the 16-year-old little Giggs, born just yards from Old Trafford, who's bound to bring the good times back. You see the smile on Mum's face as you pull her brand new Merc, just like Fergie's, into the drive on Christmas Day. Actually, now you know Fergie's got loads of cars. Might have to buy more than one. No problem. You see the league title, the European Cup, an improved contract, front cover shoots in magazines and newspapers, and not just the sports pages either. The Sun, the Mirror, the News of the Screws. Even though you're a loyal citizen of the Republic of Mancunia, so don't really care, real United fans hate the England team, full of Cockneys and Scousers. You see your national debut. That's the breakthrough that finally stops Mum talking about. When you go back to school, you see the World Cup final. The winning goal scored at the last minute. Ball hitting net as the telecommentator says those lines he'd scribbled in his notebook years ago and has been dying to say ever since. And finally, the ghost of 66 is laid to rest. You see your testimonial. A stylish, adoring wife dripping from your arm. Every fucker has one of those. A girlfriend in the stands, keeping a jealous lookout. Everyone has one of those too. You see yourself carrying your son on your shoulders as you do a tour of the pitch on your final match. The chants, the cheers, the adoration. Then you see your CBE, then your OBE, then your knighthood, then your mind's really racing now. You see your emotional retirement speech explaining your success is really all down to the gaffer, though he lets you call him plain old Alex these days, who came to your house, got down on his knees and begged you to sign for United when you were just 15, proudly telling a friendly media scrum that he only did that twice, and the other player was this lad called Giggs. Does anyone remember him? That gets a big laugh. That gets a big laugh. Alright, okay, it doesn't. You see the sign being unveiled on the new Wilson stand selling Wilson Bitter, Wilson Cola and Wilson Burgers with wobbly Wilson fries, and you even see, way off in the future, someone on the telly asking a 100-year-old Sir Bobby Charlton, "Where's the next Mike Wilson going to come from?" You see Sir Bobby smiling and saying, "Well, Tim, you only get one Mike Wilson in a lifetime, and that's if you're lucky. I'm just grateful I watched the great man in action." Bobby shakes his head and smiles. What a player. Really. Never thought I'd see a greater artist than George Best, but this lad, well, what can you say? I'm glad I lived to see it. Tears well up in Bobby's eyes as he struggles to keep his composure. I can die now. You get up off the floor, beaming, and the coach shouts, "Hey Pele, ready to retire, are you?" You shake your head, still grinning. "Well then," he screams, "get on with the bloody game." The team loses and you hardly get a kick the rest of the match. You don't care, because you know what's coming. And what's coming is good. Okay, so that's his first goal for the reserves. Could somebody get me some water, please? And a beer. Let's talk about alcoholism. And purple M&Ms. And roses. And only photograph me from my favourite side. People are laughing because they know I haven't got a good side. This next section is with apologies to Deansgate Waterstones, which is a shop I used to buy my books in when I was a kid. That whole time, the early 90s, they're just not in my head. Being bought and sold like that, loaned out, not in control of anything. No wonder my mind turned to glue. But I do remember a few details from the Christmas of 1994. 6 months since walking out the dugout and out the game, walking back home from the third new job since September. Thanks, Dan. You're better than that job. In again tomorrow. New boys do the shifts no one else wants. I took a different route to the bus stop, cutting along Deansgate, just to have a look. It only took a few more minutes than the other route, and I promised myself I wouldn't get one. But in those days, I even broke promises when it mattered. In the last couple of years, I've read every book written about or by a United player or ex-player, and there had been a lot of them. Every fucker got a book. Bit Part Boys, the wives, even some of the ex-wives. You know the kind of thing. My Life with Paul Parker. I mean, who the fuck wants to read that? 3,000 says. I pulled up outside and I forgot all about getting the bus. There were stacks of copies in the front window of the bookshop facing out onto Deansgate. A fresh-faced pretty boy picture, two big sad eyes making the subject look like the cute babyish one out of some hot new boy band. Only 21 years old and he was already an institution. A whole book laid out like a teenage magazine, right down to the bubble writing, love hearts, empty interviews, what's your favourite cheese and why? And half-naked photographs that didn't quite give the goods away but gave a pretty accurate idea of the contents. $12.99's worth of tasty present for girlies everywhere, from your friendly Uncle Ryan. Under the banner, get yourself a footballer for Christmas! And no one complained. No outcry from parents or the church. No protests outside the shop. A young girl dragged her mother to the window saying, that's it, Mum, I want one! I followed her inside and flipped through the pages. It was amazing what they were saying, what they were getting away with. It couldn't have been him, this thing. It just couldn't. I mean, he'd done a few bad adverts. I couldn't even look at a vegetarian sausage anymore. But I'd always reckoned that was the system, not the man. You're expected to do that shit. Agents and management push you, they whore you around and use you to get rich. And they say everyone does it, it's part of the job. They talk about market opportunity and optimum revenue streams. Poor Ryan didn't even know what he was doing at first. I mean, how can you, at that age? But surely he knew better than this. He was supposed to be a United player, a professional man. And here he was, posing as the sixth member of Take That. I stuffed a copy in my jacket and ran, as fast as my bad leg would let me, checking behind for shop assistants chasing lock stock. I do have some dignity. There was no way I was paying for it. Once I was out of sight, I sat down on a bench, my leg aching, and studied the evidence. They'd done a good job on him, I had to admit. They'd made him look like all things to everyone, doing it over and over, reminding everyone with every headline and caption what a success he was. The photos on the inside told the whole life story, so far as his minders, press officer and sponsors wanted it to be. A shorthand whiz through the sanitised life and times of the golden boy wonder. 1. These are the photographs. 1. The innocent, thoughtful child, unruly curls brushed to one side. 2. The young boy, pure, playing for his nation, which was England back then. 3. Laughing with an old friend in a bar, but not drinking. 4. Pulling on a United shirt, pretending not to know the camera is there, but abso-fucking-lutely knowing it is. 5. Teenager balancing a ball on his head in the back garden. 6. The promising youth player in action. 7. At 17, scoring his first goal for United, proper. The only goal in the game that counts the most. The derby. 8. Celebrating a win with Phil Neville, their arms wrapped around each other like they never wanted to be apart again. 9. The fun-loving guy, one of the boys, larking around in just a pair of wet trunks, showing off a suspiciously large bulge. Mental note, check other photos. Was it possible? Did he stuff? 10. Looking moodily up at the camera, staring at it, unafraid. 11. The spiritual one, Ryan the freethinker, photographed in black and white, topless and looking upward into the harsh sunlight, hair spreading wildly over his chest. 12. The gritty one, ball underarm, unshaven, an ordinary guy like you and me, relaxing by a dirty wall. Bet there's plenty of those in Worsley, not in his mansion. 13. Laughing with poor kids in Africa. And finally 14. Tearing passionately as United shirt in front of thousands of fat fucks cheering his every move. The whole thing was perfectly arranged, perfectly judged, and in pride of place, one of him taken from the back, the banner of his name, thick and brash across the top, above his number and mine. Gigs 11. So that's the section. Three voices. First person, which is about Mikey's whole life. And then the second person section, which is his whole career, from the first time he kicks a ball to the last time. And then the third section, which focuses on the 2007-2008 season, which I'm going to come to in the last bit I'm going to read. But another brief section first. Okay, so it's 1999, and we're in the Red Lion pub in Salford, and Mikey is in the pub with his brother, Guy, and Ryan Giggs has just scored the greatest goal of all time, which is Arsenal semi-final. Yeah, and so everybody in the pub is talking about how it's the greatest goal of all time, or is it? Guy admits Giggsy's goal was unbelievable, but despite everything, he's not really a huge fan of Ryan, never has been. He's more of a workhorse man, from the Paul Scholes school of grim-faced, solid dependables. In the days of Brian Robson, he was president of the Clayton Blackmore fan club. If he was alive in '68, he would have preferred Bill Foulkes or Franny Burns to the wayward genius of Georgie Best. He'd always been that type, never does the obvious thing, the smart thing, the easy obvious thing that everybody else does. But on days like this, he's good value, and you spar over whether Ryan's goal is the best goal scored ever by anyone. Each brother throws a punch, ducks, moves, making his argument. Voices are raised. You both talk over each other. There's nothing like it. Guy's the proper philosopher these days, no doubt. Once he gets going, he starts up with the theories. Leaning in towards you, sneaking the odd sly look at the barmaid's tits as she glides by, picking up your glasses, he says, "Success on the pitch, right? True, pure moments of fairy tale that will go down in United history, become folklore. They're not really about talent at all. They're about maths." Know what I'm saying? You give him the face, but you're smiling. He carries on. "By the law of averages," he says, "if you play enough games, and if you get enough chances in those games, you're bound to score a goal like that in the end. Something special, something memorable, where the timing and the occasion and the weather are all aligned like stars." You give him the face again. Is he an idiot? He says, "And Giggsy's played more matches than most, hasn't he? So if you think about it, I mean, really think about it, that means the goal against Arsenal wasn't that special at all. It was always going to happen. You just didn't know when. All Ryan had to do was keep going, not give up. You see? Sometimes, when guys like this, you wish he'd stop trying to make you feel better." A bit later, Guy gets talking to a woman you might know. You think about it, maybe she used to hang around in the park when you were younger. There were kids who never seemed to leave the place. They stayed all night, drinking, screwing, dealing. You look, and you're sure that that's where you know her from, but there's no name there on your tongue. She's small and soft and she's laughing. She's wearing jeans and a simple white t-shirt, like she's not trying to prove anything to anyone. Guy's still talking to her, and after a while he turns to you and whispers, "I'm going to behave, Mikey. Got to be good these days, but you should talk to her." You ask, "Why?" Guy shakes his head and laughs. "I don't know what's wrong with you, mate," he says. "If you want to win the national lottery, you've got to get yourself a fucking scratch card once in a while, know what I mean?" You don't know what the hell that means, but when he pushes you over to this woman and explains she's called Gemma Black, you speak. "Hi, Gemma Black," you say. "I'm Mike. Can I get you a drink?" She considers the offer. Then after an age, she accepts with a stiff little nod, and then a "well, what the hell else am I doing?" Later, you buy her another. Guy presses a few crumpled notes into your palm on his way to the toilet and whispers, "Forget about it." So you do. And you get another one for yourself too. Might as well. By 11:15, the pub has started to empty out, people moving on home or to queues for clubs nearby, and you three are pretty much the last to leave. You don't know why, maybe because you get the impression she's not into the footy, but you decide to try and go until the end of the night without mentioning United to Gemma, or that you played for them, or what happened. She talks fast, but she talks straight, and she says she doesn't want to think about the past, so maybe you shouldn't either. All that shit, you think, that follows you around. Maybe it doesn't need to. Maybe it isn't a shadow at all, and if you tell it to leave it alone, it might. When Guy gets his jacket, he gives you a big bear hug and says, he shoots, he scores. Then he lopes off out the door of the Dog and Partridge, back to his dependable Clayton Blackmore girlfriend. And solid Paul Scholes home, and steady Franny Burns' job. You live alone, Dad's bound to phone late with something to say about the match, and you're not in the mood for his, "I could have been a pro, you know, Mikey." And, "Mikey, do you think your mother misses me?" And you know, me and this barmaid, I don't think it's going to work out. So you decide to stay for one more. Gemma came to the pub with friends but leaves with you, not because you're a footballer, not because you're told you have Giggsy on speed dial, or that you've won a pile of medals. You have a laugh together, like mates. When she laughs, she has this twang to her accent, like she's from somewhere else. And she's pretty sharp too, you reckon, full of fight, opinion on everything, and she must have had a good opinion of you, or else she wouldn't still be here, right? You head on to a club for one more, standing by the bar, shouting over the music. And after a while there, she's beginning to enjoy herself, and you talk and talk about Manchester. Gemma says she moved here when she was about 12, but it always felt like home. That to her, the city sounded like home. And the two of you agree on everything that matters. New order from Salford. Early stuff good, later stuff bad. The Mondays from Little Holton/Salford. Hits very good, everything else very bad. The Roses from Altrincham. First album, the best ever. Second one, the worst. Oasis from Burnage. Don't count, City supporters. The Fall. Hundreds of members since being formed in Prestwich. Shit. The Smiths. Morrissey from Hume, Manchester. Ma from Ardwick, Manchester. The other two, doesn't matter. Brilliant, obviously, even though Moz is a puff. Then you get sidetracked into talking about whether Morrissey is actually gay or just nothing. Is that even possible? And finally, Joy Division, see New Order. Her favourites, your favourites, the best. Gemma says, "You'll think I'm daft, but to me Joy Division sound like old Manchester, the one I miss, you know. And this is the kind of sentimental, rose-tinted crap you love." So you sing Love Will Tear Us Apart for her, out of tune, loud as you can in tribute. And at the end of all this, she's still there, not rolling her eyes or heading for the door, which makes you more relaxed, which means she likes you more. When you start up the song a second time, this time you do it with a full Ian Curtis impression, shaking all over the place. Then you do it a la Moz, early period, waving imaginary gladioli. Then you morph into Ian Brown, the swaggering walk on the spot, all the attitude, the works. "Fucking nice one, mate." You say, "Fucking nice one." Gemma laughs and says, "You're an absolute idiot." She smiles widely. "Cute idiot," she says, playing with the earring in her left hand. "And you've never been called cute before." After another couple of drinks, Gemma's mood turns. She says she gets lonely sometimes, especially since her ex-boyfriend scarpered back to Merseyside where her family live. You pretend you didn't hear that? You have to. This is her first night out and feeling good in months, and really she's not ready for anything new. She just wants someone to talk to. When Gemma starts crying right there in the club, you don't act like a dick and tell her to dry her eyes. You feel like a new, clean man tonight. So you put an arm around her and you say you understand, which you really, truly, no shit, feel like you do. And she puts an arm around you as well, her other arm linking through yours, like she's hanging on to you. The alcohol in her breath smells like your own, the stale, sticky insides of your mouth, and you tell her she shouldn't be alone tonight, that she can trust you. And she doesn't laugh. Or tell you to shut the fuck up. Or say, "Is that the best you can do, Casanova?" You really love her for that. And for a second you think about telling her. "What are you so happy about, sunshine?" asked Gemma, as you tried to find the keys to your flat an hour later. "Well," you say, fishing around in your pockets, "I just met this girl, didn't I? This woman, and me and Ryan, we're going to be the same now." Gemma smells good. She feels warm. She says, "You're not tough at all, are you, Mikey?" And when you lean in and hold each other on the doorstep, it's good not to be alone. That's the main thing you remember afterwards, that it's good to be close to another human body. And you get inside, you even forget about United for a while and your terrible mistake, and though you can't explain it at the time, that feels so good, it's almost too good. You can hardly bear it. It's totally exhausting, but so is thinking about the same problem all the time and not being able to make it better. When Gemma kisses you, you close your eyes, kiss back, hope the feeling will last. For a while on this night, you've never failed. You're just an ordinary bloke who got lucky at his local pub and can't believe it. That happens to everyone eventually, doesn't it? If you live long enough, it's the law of averages, right? If you fail and keep living. If you drink every night and talk to enough strangers, even the ugly guys get lucky in the end, even the ones with no chat, who have this strange spirit about them that nearly everyone stays well clear of. They get drawn to women like them. They're magneted together. Sadness drawn to sadness, anger drawn to anger. This magical night, the two of you sit up late. Gemma smokes, the two of you sitting with legs dangling out of your window, looking down on the city, talking about her life, all the things that have gone wrong and how she's going to put them right. She wants to get out of her crappy job at the call centre for starters, and into a better one. You tell her you want to help her do that, and you mean it. You promise to change too. You know what that means. She can't. It's cold, but you keep yourselves warm for a while by hugging in the dark. When the rain starts, you go inside. Gemma leans in, pulls at your belt and says, "Come on, help me forget." Okay. Thank you. I'm just going to do, can you take one more short bit? Yeah. I'd like to thank my new doctor for getting me here this evening. I haven't been able to speak for 3 days, and I had to perform. I phoned my mum and she said, "Get down to A&E. Go to the emergency out of hours." It's like that. What am I going to tell her? I've got a bit of a cough and I need to do a reading. There's a bloke there with his leg falling off. What do you want to do? Anyway, so he handed over a brown envelope. And doctor, I won't name you, but you know who you are. So I'm on some steroids. I'm on the roids. So I can't run the 100 metres. Anyway, I'd just like to finish by thanking everybody again for coming. Thank you hugely. This is my idea of a good time, and I want to thank my brother Tim particularly, who is this book is dedicated to. Because he's been a terrible brother, but he's come a long way tonight. So he's been a fantastic brother, and he taught me everything that I know about United and a whole bunch of extra shit I never needed to know. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you all what's going on around this bit because it's quite near the end and I don't want to give anything away. You know, not that anyone's going to buy the book, but that was a small laugh. Maybe they won't. This is summer 2008. United are in the Champions League final against Chelsea, and I assume I'm not giving anything away. I assume most people know that United won. That's not really the tension at the heart of this piece. Anyway. I'm not going to say too much except that Mikey thought he had a ticket to the game and he's now in a pub and they're watching it on Russian television. Nobody wants penalties. You know as well as I do, Sir Guy, it's a lottery. But until they come up with a better system, United win the toss and go first. So Carlos Tevez, whose name will be forgotten, approaches the penalty spot, positions the ball, runs up and scores. Chet dives the wrong way, it's 1-0, and Tevez clenches his fist as the bar goes mental, then goes hush hush, quiet, nervous, waiting for the first Chelsea penalty, which is taken by Michael Ballack, whose name will be forgotten, and he scores. Shot struck hard and confident, and it's 1-1 as there are mumbles in this Moscow bar and thousands of others around the globe. The odd "we're going to fucking lose here" can be heard before big cheers swallow nervousness as Michael Carrick, whose name will be forgotten, steps up and Carrick scores. It's 2-1, and no doubt about that one, says the guy behind you, as the bar goes mental again. Then hush hush, quiet, nervous, as Giuliano Belletti, whose name will be forgotten, walks up and you try and willing to blast it high and wide, but he scores with his first kick of the game. Though you wouldn't know it as the screen graphic flashes 2-2, and there are more mumbles in this bar, but probably massive cheers in countless other places all over the planet, from Chelsea supporters, some just Chelsea supporters for the night, from Liverpool and Barcelona and Edinburgh, some wearing t-shirts saying "anyone but United." All this as you wonder if Ryan's going to take one. Then big whoops all round as the big flavour of the year and tonight's goal scorer, Cristiano Ronaldo, whose name, despite everything, will be forgotten, steps up and does that cheeky fake stutter he does and misses. Oh my god, fuck. It's still 2-2 and there's an earthquake in your mind and it's obvious you're going to lose now, even though no one says it, as before you know it, Frank Lampard, whose name will be forgotten, thank God, is there and ready and he scores. It's 3-2 Chelsea and a few people are already halfway to the exit as the guy behind you says, "I wish he'd fucking do that for England," and a ripple of nervous laughter goes round the bar as time speeds up. And Owen Hargreaves, whose name will be forgotten, is next, and Balls of Steel Hargreaves scores. It's 3-3, and next it's Ashley Cole, whose name will be forgotten, and he scores too. 4-3. And all of a sudden it's nearly over, and Christ bollocks, it's down to Luis Nani, whose name will be forgotten, who gets a big groan as he walks up, and you hope he can't hear that from where he is. But it's okay for now, because Nani scores. Only just mind, it's 4-4 and the bar braces itself for hell and a long night and a shitty trip home and months of paying back money spent on this shameful failure when Mr. Bastard Chelsea himself, John Terry, whose name will be forgotten, places the ball. The Russian boys in the box are giving it the big intro, which probably translates as "one kick till you're king of the world, Mr. Abramovich," or some shit. But even they couldn't have predicted this, because even though United keeper Van der Sar, whose name will be forgotten, has gone the wrong way, Terry slips and all of a sudden is on the floor and he hits the post and misses. Ha 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 ha! And already the bar is celebrating. Ha 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 ha! Like United have won as Terry is crouched to the floor wanting to die. Ha ha ha! Because that kind of thing, it can only mean fate has already made her decision. But then, as one, the bar remembers that actually this isn't over yet. Bloody hell, we're into sudden death, and panic spreads as Anderson, whose name you can hardly even remember, walks up to take his penalty, looking like this tiny little Brazilian boy who needs a cuddle and can't possibly be big enough for this situation. And you think, it's mental, isn't it? What minute details success and failure come down to in the end. And Anderson scores. Lucky that. Almost hit the goalkeeper and bounced off, but seemed to go through it instead. But it's 5-4, that's all that matters. And there are sighs of relief, which last for just long enough for another baby boy, Solomon Kalou, whose name will be forgotten, to do that long, lonely walk from the halfway line, place the ball and score. Which means it's now 5-5, and it feels like this has been going on forever. You can't remember anything before it or imagine any life after it. But then, planet Earth stops spinning as, yes, ladies and gents, Ryan Joseph Giggs, whose name will be remembered forevermore, steps forward. How could you not see this coming? And he's walking, floating, flying to his destiny, blocking out everything around him, and this is the calmest moment of your life. Because you know that your soul and his are one. That was dramatic. That everything's been leading to this. Everything. And every second. My readings always have that impact on people. Everything's been leading to this. Everything. And every second and millisecond of the last 20 years melts into the ground below you as the roar goes up in the stadium and in the bar when he takes his run up, and of course he scores, bending it into the corner of the net. It's 6-5. And if dreams were wishes and wishes came true, then you'd be sitting on a cloud. Sir Matt lighting a fresh cigar for you, because alright, none of these guys know it, but it's the winning penalty. And even though it's Anelka now to face the future, and there are cries of "oh shit" from all around, and "is this going to go on all night?" and "my nan's up to take the next one," you have seen this right here is the end. So when Anelka, whose name will be forgotten, misses, Van der Sar saves, and United are the champions of Europe, and the place goes fucking mental. You're not even looking. You're on your way to the bar. Might as well beat the rush, eh? Thank you very much, everybody, for coming.
I could do some water. No, I just want water. Two. That's fantastic. Oh, thank you. Two. All right. On to Rosie now. Wrong already. We'll see. I think Ryan's quite litigious. No, only speak. Good business. Well, I promise you'll be. Had real practice in portraying real situations in fictionalised ways. These are all invented situations, and nobody could possibly think that I was trying to say that real. No. I think that's the difference. Okay. Yeah. That's said. Hello. It's great.